Oh, stupid lens cap was on. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a photographer and videographer, but more important than that, I am a husband and a father. And today, I'm talking about the Paper Shoot camera. This is a fun little novelty camera. The company sent me to test out, to try out, and to give my thoughts on. And so I've been playing with it for the past week or so, and just wanted to share with you what I think this camera is all about, the good elements of it, maybe the not so good elements of it, and maybe who this camera is for. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Glad to have you. I do a lot of talking about documenting family life, and what you can use, the tools that you can use, the skills that you can use to document family life, whether it be with photos or videos. And so this was interesting to me. I actually saw this, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, before the company ever reached out to me, and I thought it was a nifty little camera, a nifty little novelty camera, but I never picked it up until the company sent it to me. So they did send me this camera with some accessories, as well as another camera that they said I can do as a giveaway. So if you're interested in winning one of these cameras, stick around to the end and I'll tell you how we can do that. But they sent me this camera and asked me just to give a review of it. They are not seeing this video beforehand. They have no say in what I say in this video. So these are my honest opinions about this camera. And I'm also not getting paid by Paper Shoot to talk about this. They sent this to me completely for free, just if I wanted to talk about it. So what is the Paper Shoot camera? Well, so this camera, super thin. Like I said, it's a little novelty camera. Now I say novelty camera because this isn't anything professional. This is not a high-end camera. This is not the type of camera that you're gonna use to take all the photos of your family. I think this is a fun little novelty camera. It's to use, to enjoy, to maybe be a little bit creative. But yeah, it's a pretty cool little thing. So basically, there is a paper cover on the camera. And if I take this apart, just unscrew these little things. Basically, you take this apart and there you have the circuit board of the camera, which honestly is kind of really cool to see. It takes 2 AA batteries. You can throw in your SD card, as well as some little SIM card looking things that just kind of give you some different features. So it's just a fun little camera that to me feels like it is made to be creative. Now, Paper Shoot designed this camera with a couple of goals in mind, it seems. They wanted to create something that would kind of give a nostalgic vibe while still just be the ease of digital. But then they also wanted to be eco-friendly. So that's why, you know, these covers are paper. They're very recyclable, which I think is cool. At the same time, if you're out in water, like in rain, like that definitely does mean, you know, these could get damaged, and the circuit board is right here. So that could also get damaged, but I think that's a cool way to do it. But the other thing I like about what they say on the website, at least, is that they wanted to create something that would cause people to slow down. So I think that's definitely something they've done here with this camera. Now, for me, when I was out using this camera, I did find that it was honestly kind of fun to use. And I think what was really interesting and really fun and enjoyable were all the accessories. So they sent me a bunch of different accessories for this camera. And I think that's really cool that there is a lot of different accessories out there. You know, there's other cameras out there that are novelty cameras, like the Camp Snap camera, which I've done a video on, that is just the camera. There's not really any accessories or anything you can add on to it. But that is something cool about this camera, is that you can customize it. You can make it look whatever you want because they have so many different, you know, coverings for it. But then also there's just a ton of different accessories. So you can get different lenses. They sent me, I think they have 4 lenses that you can add on. They sent me 2 of them. One that is like a radial lens, and then one that is more of a prism lens. So definitely something to get a little creative with. Typically, I'm not the kind of person who would use things like radial or prisms like in my photos, but I think there are people out there who would enjoy that and would find that as a really fun creative thing. And even when I was using it, like I threw it on the camera, took some pictures, and it, like, they came out looking cool. Will I use it all the time? Probably not, but I think that's a cool feature. Then they also have some filter sets for different color profiles. Now, the camera itself has 4 different color profiles. If you look on the back of the camera, you'll see that there's a little dial here. And so they've got normal color, black and white, warmer toned, and cooler toned. I found myself gravitating towards the warmer and the black and white. Those were just the ones that stood out to me, felt like the vibe I liked the most. But what's even cooler about it is that they do have some additional cards that you can buy that basically allow you to put on different profiles. So the classic film was one that I honestly liked. And it, just like the normal camera, has 4 modes. So you've got the normal classic film, you've got black and white. Again, you've got more of a sepia toned, like an oranger tone, and then more of a bluer toned. They had an icy chill, so you're definitely gonna get a more cool look with this. I gotta be honest, I didn't necessarily love this one, and that's more so just because I'm not a fan of like cooler tones. Especially it's summer right now, so it just doesn't, like, I go outside and I take pictures, like maybe if it was snowing, I'd feel differently. But again, there's 4 different options on there. There's a teal and orange. I did like the teal and orange. I felt like this was a fun one. I'm someone who enjoys teal and orange. And then there's a monochrome. And I could, honestly, I could take or leave the monochrome. But I think the fact that they give you these options to add on different filters is really, really cool, because here's the thing about the camera is you're just getting JPEGs out of these. If you're the kind of person who likes to edit your images, you're not really going to be able to do that. You're only getting JPEGs. I mean, I guess you could pull them into an editor, but you're probably not gonna have much room to work with. And so this kind of gives you a way to put your own classic presets or whatever onto your photos. It's kind of like Fujifilm, how you can create different color profiles in Fujifilm. It's a very similar sort of thing. You don't have as much customization, but you can pick from what they have and choose the ones that you like the most. Now, what's cool about that is you got a lot of options. What I also found not necessarily so cool about it is you got a lot of options. I think on novelty cameras like this, especially when you can't see like the pictures you're taking, like, I get it. I see the reason why there's not a screen. But when there are so many different options, especially when it comes to color, and I know that I can't edit the photos after I've taken them, like, I basically had to do a test run day and go through and take just a ton of photos of the same thing to figure out what color profile I liked the best. And it tended to typically be always the more warm toned on whatever different cards I was using. But I narrowed it down to a few that I really, really liked, and I found some ones that I was like, yeah, I don't really care for that. So it's a plus and minus. It means you kind of have to do your own little research once you get them to figure out what you like before you can just start snapping away and trusting that you're gonna, get quality images that you enjoy. Yeah, it's the curse of options, right? The more options you have, the harder it's gonna be to decide what you want, what you like. Now, the other thing they sent me is these function cards. And so in the same way that they use the different color profile cards, there are 4 different function cards. They all, same thing, look like these little SIM cards that you just plug right into the camera. And they come with some different effects. So they've got one that's like a double exposure effect. So if you're someone who enjoys double exposures, there you go. I've never done a double exposure before. And so honestly, like, this was the first time ever doing a double exposure on a camera. And yeah, if you're someone who's really creative, I think you're gonna enjoy this. If you're just looking for a camera to take some fun photos, and you don't necessarily wanna get super creative and like do all these cool things like the prism lenses and stuff like that, or the double exposure, then this might just be something you don't pick up. But then some other cool things they had. This one is a retro frame. So basically it puts a frame around your photos. I think that's cool. I think there's a fun vibe to it. At the same time, that's also something you could do like in post if you really wanted to. But again, I mean, the photos you take on this, you're not really wanting to pull into your computer and edit. So the fact that you can, just in the camera add that on, that's a fun little feature. And then this one turns all your photos square. So again, same sort of thing as that last one. Yes, you can do it in post. You can crop your photos in post. Do you really want to though? I think with a novelty camera, the joy of it is taking the photo and then posting it, you know, or looking at it, like not necessarily having to do extra work after the fact. And then there is this one, which I'm gonna be honest, I did not even try. And it basically is a time lapse and a video mode. So you can get a 10-second video as well as a 10-second time lapse. The 10-second time lapse requires you set the camera up and let it go for 30 minutes. But both of these, using this function card, it requires you to use an external power. So there is a USB port here on the camera, so you can plug in external power and use that. Personally, that's not something I ever feel like I'm going to use, and so I didn't even test it out. Just because the external power I carry with me is a huge brick, and I'm like, I don't really want to be holding that while I'm, you know, playing with this camera. I think the cool thing about this camera is it's so thin and so small, I can just slide it in my pocket. I don't really want to have to mess with an extra battery pack. And there's two things I noticed just about the camera itself, like the quality, stuff like that, that I did not enjoy. And that's that, first off, when you take this camera and you put it up to your eye, right, like this, the focal length that you get when you're looking through this is definitely not as wide as the focal length of the image you get when it takes a picture. Like, you put this up to your eye and you need to be prepared that the image that's actually being taken is a much wider image. It'd almost be like if I was, you know, expecting to be using, I don't know, a 35mm lens on a camera, but instead I'm using like a 20mm lens. Like, it's definitely a lot wider than you think it is. The other thing is that when you press the button, you hear that? And then it clicks. So it's like a second delay. Yeah, you have about a second delay. So that means like whatever is in your frame, if it moves, well, then your photo is going to change, or, you know, it's going to be blurry or whatever. So that is something to be aware of. Like, if you're trying to take photos of your kids, like, it's not going to take the photo the instant you press the button. It is going to require a little bit of time, so that image may change. So would I buy this camera? Honestly, me personally, my answer would probably be no, but I think I'm not the target audience, if I'm honest. I think that this camera, I see two target audience. I would say ideal audience would be, you know, maybe kids in later elementary, middle school, who their parents want to allow them to be creative and have some fun and not have to use like a digital camera. I think this would be fun for them. Like, I could see myself giving this to a couple of friends' kids and letting them play with it, and I know they would love it and they would have a ton of fun, like playing with all the different accessories and getting creative with it. So I would say, like, if you're looking to find a cool present for your kids, this could be that. I think the other audience would be people who just want to be really creative. Like, they're not necessarily trying to make the best photos. They're just wanting to express themselves and be creative and have fun with photos. I think this camera's for them. For me, I'm the kind of person, like, photos to me are a means of capturing memories and capturing moments. And while this camera can do this, it's definitely more focused on being creative. And while I'm a creative person, my primary focus is to capture memories and moments. And I think there's other cameras out there that will do that better for the price point, at least for me personally and in my own personal opinion. That doesn't mean that I don't think this is a fun camera or a cool camera, because I do. I just don't think that this would be a camera I would spend my money on for me. Maybe I would get this for friends, you know, for a birthday or a gift or something like that. But for me personally, I probably wouldn't buy it. But I'm glad I have it, because honestly, like, it was more fun than I thought it would be. Now, like I said at the beginning, Papershoot did say they would do a giveaway for me. So if you want to win one of these cameras, what you're gonna have to do is, first off, you gotta like this video. Second, you gotta comment. And third, you need to be subscribed to the channel. So I'll go through and we'll pick a random comment from down below within the next week. So comment within a week from this video getting posted. And one of those comments, you'll win one of these cameras. But you gotta be subscribed to the channel. I guess I can't tell you gotta like the video, because there's not really any way of me checking to see if you've liked it, but still, like the video and subscribe, and then we'll pull a random person from the comments. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this little review of this camera. This has been a fun one for me to play with. And I enjoy, doing these little reviews, helping families figure out, like, is this a camera that we should buy or we should invest our money in or that we would enjoy? So if you have other cameras out there that you've seen and you're wondering, like, I don't know, is this worth it? Let me know. I would love to test them out and see, see how they stack up against other cameras, maybe like this one. So we'll catch you in the next video.